Welcome back to the World Wide Web of Lending YouTube channel, specifically speaking, the Connected to the Web, 2B's podcast. So I have a wonderfully fun and bubbly person here today, and we're going to have a little fun talking about her and her family and her business and kind of how she got to that way. But my guest, Amanda's here with Radiant Destinations and Travel. And the travel business is a very exciting business, and I'm going to kind of poke you and prod you a little bit about some fun stuff. But I want you to first tell us about you and your family. You're such a fun person to talk to, and that's why I'm having guests on here so people can meet you that haven't had a chance to see eye to eye. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell me about yourself. Tell me all about yourself.
Oh, where do I start?
Where'd you grow up?
So I am a Parkville girl.
Awesome.
I lived most of my life in Parkville, but I live a little bit in Middle River area.
Okay. Baltimore County.
Right, exactly. My grandparents lived down there, so we kind of went back and forth between. My mom was a single mom kind of thing.
Yeah.
So just learning, having two kids at a young age, and she didn't know exactly what to do, but she did her best.
I don't know that we all don't know. I guess we all kind of figure it out. What did you call your grandmother? Just because I'm just from the Baltimore area.
So we just call her Gran.
Gran.
So
okay.
She was true Baltimore. Like
yeah. She's a hun. She was a hun.
And zinc. Oh my Lord, the zinc. And the cellar.
The cellar.
Go down the cellar.
Yeah.
Or wrestling.
Your kids are wrestling.
Put that wrestling down there.
I love it. So both my parents and my wife's parents are divorced. So we have 4 grandparents. So when we started having kids, we had to think, okay, what's the way to kind of separate them? Well, I grew up in a house where the parents were divorced, but one grandmother had black hair and one had white hair, silver. And back then, things were a little different, and we used to call one the white mama and one the black mama. So I recognized as life was changing 15 years ago, I said, sweetheart, we can't do what my brothers and I did. She's like, yeah, that's not going to work. So we have a mum, a Mimi, a Meemaw, and 2 Meemaws.
Okay.
But one Meemaw's in Ohio, and one Meemaw's in Pennsylvania. So I had to ask you about that. So sorry, keep going. So you're living with your grandmom, Gran. And doing your thing down there. So what brought you over to Parkville? Just kind of life, school kind of thing?
My stepfather came into the picture when I was about, I'd say 5-ish. So he came into the picture. He was a Baltimore City police officer, actually.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for his service.
I know,
Tough job in the city.
It was a tough job, So we ended up moving out that way. We bought a house and all right on Taylor Avenue.
Okay.
So most of my life, I was raised up there, and it was weird because, like, when I moved out, my first husband, we went to, like, the Parkville area still, but then he's like, okay, I live down in Middle River, so, like, we ended up moving to Essex, so I was like, this is out of my element, like, you know what I mean? I've been up here all my life at this point.
And so Taylor Avenue area is so convenient.
Yes.
Anything you need is within
right there.
5 red lights.
White Marsh, you have Towson, everywhere you go, it's somewhere you need to go, and hop and skip and a jump in the car.
Yeah, that's a Baltimore thing. Hop, skip, and a jump. Yep.
But so I guess going into the childhood-wise, so like me being in different schools was kind of hard. Or like my brother, he was in Baltimore County because he was, high school, So my mom's like, I'm not going to move him around, da-da-da. So I had to go up to city school. So it was a big difference, here's snow days where my brother's sleeping in, and here's me. I got to walk to school in the snow, and I'm like, this is so wrong.
Yeah. I grew up in the Hereford zone, which we got off school a ridiculous amount. So I can appreciate how different that is for other people.
It was so annoying. Yeah. I'm like, this is not fair. All my cousins are off school today, and I have to go to school. It's so wrong. But again, it's life, and you live, you learn, and it was a good childhood. Me and my brother, like, we're super close. And then my mom, because my dad, I call him my dad because he raised us.
I was going to ask you.
So he actually didn't have any kids. So here's me and my brother, he helped raise us. And my mom's like, I want to give you a kid. So here's Mr. Bachelor, and here comes my brother, and I'm 10 years old.
Oh, yeah. I have 10-year younger siblings. Awesome.
So I was like, it was a big transition, because, like, here's my mom with grown kids, and then here comes this little baby, and he was the sweetest little thing. Let me tell you. He was my baby. Like, he literally was my baby. Like,
I was going to ask that, because you end up mothering a 10-year younger sibling. Yeah.
He couldn't do no wrong. He was so
course.
rotten, wild as can be. We always laughed because you could see the hyperness in him as a
Yeah.
kid. But he's so chill now. Like,
Yeah.
he is so,
Really?
like,
Well, that's cool.
lackadaisy. Like, just la, 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 la. But he's hilarious, though.
Yeah.
He is definitely a funny soul. And that's what laughed.
Oh.
My son is so much like him.
Oh,
in
wow.
so many different ways. Because they're both, like, gaming guys. Like, he does all the, cool electronics and, top
They
of the
can
line.
relate. They can relate.
Oh, all the cool stuff,
Yeah.
So my son, like, looks up to him, like, hey, uncle, you want to play video games?
Yeah.
And I love him,
Well, the new phrase now is unk.
Right.
Yeah, now they just make up words.
But they're so funny because he's
Yeah.
like, I don't get to see him anymore because he has to work at this time. And he's like, I want to go over and see grandma and uncle. And I'm like, oh, godchild.
We'll see. Put it on the calendar. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people, a lot of families benefit from having a grandparent around, period. But those that have a grandparent in the home, there's some pretty powerful statistics about how well that family's organization spreads to the other generations when there's a grandparent there to kind of give that example. And then now your mother is the grandparent, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of neat. I mean, it wasn't a pathway that maybe everybody would have chosen if they would have wrote it down when they were kids.
Right.
But, it's kind of neat how there was a plan there and you guys all benefited from having Grand around. That's cool.
We definitely did. And again, like, my grandmother was more so a second mom, you know what I mean? Like,
Naturally.
and that's where it's so weird because, like, things are so different now. Like, our family was so close. Like,
Yeah.
my cousins lived down the street. My other cousins lived around the corner. So it's like,
Love
we
that.
grew up so close, and it sucks now because, like, life's so busy, kids' sports. Like, I was just telling my
Cell
brother
phones,
this yesterday.
electronics,
We
pads.
just get so busy and doing so many things. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to focus on keeping our family together because, like, I don't know about you, but, like, my great grandmother, we went in the city, and as much as we hated and loved it, it was hot in there. So, like, as a kid, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go in there. It's 100 degrees, you
Yep.
know? But I sit there and think about all those times, like, I took that for granted, and it's like she held us together. She was the glue for our family.
Yeah.
And it's almost like my grandmother became that. She had her own issues, but of course, we always came together as a family and had holidays together. So, like, she passed and she's been gone probably about 3 years now, I think it is.
Oh.
So,
Was she your last grandparent?
yes, actually. So my stepdad, he had his parents alive, and my grandfather actually just passed after her. It was probably about a year or so after her. So I have one grandfather left, which it's hard, because I'm like, I lost 3 grandparents in, I say 5 years. That's crazy.
I just lost my last one last February, actually. So
I'm
we're
sorry.
coming up on it, and you don't realize how
No.
important those people are in your
You don't.
lives. And with grandparents, they know that life is crazy, and they don't need you to call them every day. But I still have this, like, guilt, and I'm a crier, so I'm not going to go too far into it.
I
But
understand.
that, like, I should have, could have, would have.
Right.
And I know it's not substantiated, but there's no way I can get out of my head. And she had a fall from grace because she was this incredibly, like, bouncy woman. She would just she was a hun, but, like, truly commanded a room. And then she had a stroke and lost one half of her dominant side of her body, and we just knew that was
She
the clock
wasn't
at that
herself,
point because
yeah.
I thought she would have lived 120 before that. She was literally bouncing off the walls. She was in a 55 plus community running the art and theater section, like,
No
doing
kidding.
productions, and then it was just like bang. So, like, that grandparent, like, it's such a sacred thing,
It is.
and I would definitely encourage you to, like, have those conversations with your last grandparent because I definitely remember her last name maiden name was Miller.
Okay.
So I had this, like, bug up my tail that I wanted to do, like, a little family, like, genealogy thing. And with the last name Miller, I had to get her involved because I can't look it up.
Yeah, because that's a lot of
Webb,
Millers, right?
maybe not. Krumholtz, maybe. Miller, like, you got to have some direction or it's
Yeah.
going to go crazy. And I never did that. It's the one thing I wish I did. But, I mean,
Well,
not to
you
get off
never
topic,
know. You
but
never know. You might
there's
be
some
able
older
to-
members of the family that I need to do
Yeah.
that for, which mental note. Anybody remind me watching? I need to do my genealogy for my family.
I think
so.
it's a cool thing.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason is because what made me bring that up was what you said, keeping the family close, and there is kind of like an isolation thing, and electronics are so wonderful, but they have another side to them where it causes families to kind of separate because you find things to do that don't involve your siblings or your parents or your grandparents because you have this world of information and stimulus and dopamine right in front of you, and I just worry sometimes that, like, that's what's going to happen. So we just celebrated. Christmas Eve was like our little family reunion thing with that side of the family. It was the first one without her. So it was different. I mean, we all afterwards we were enjoying each other's company. We were great. Then afterwards, we're like,
it's just not the same. Like
it's not worse. It was just not the same.
Yeah, it just so like I know for us, like my grandmother had a specific seat. Like you go in the house, she had a seat.
Love that.
Her own seat. Like it was her spot. My grandfather's so funny. God love him. He puts a like thing right here, and it says "Gran."
Oh, it's her seat.
But like it was so weird because you walk into the house and she just was always sitting there, right?
Yeah.
Like that was her spot. She was always like never a day in her life, So it goosebumps thinking about it. But like she's not there anymore, right? And you had to process that for so many years, and it's like every time I would go to the house, like it was almost that reminder, like she's not here anymore, and it was like a slap in the face. So like I know my grandfather, it's hard for him because like he's lonely too, but I don't know about everyone else. I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself. And it's like, it's hard going there to see she's not there. It's just another reminder. So, I don't know. It's weird. Because it's like, sometimes I catch myself like wanting to call her and like, hey, Gran, because we had a weird relationship. Like, it wasn't like your lovey granny, you know what I mean? Until after, because like she had a lot of, I think, mental health issues, like anxiety and stress and all that.
Yeah.
But like as she progressed, she ended up having dementia.
Oh,
so it was really, really hard.
My biggest fear.
Yeah, it was a rough, but we made the best of it. And like the personality that I have with her, and I always be goofy and just say weird things.
Like a bestie grandma.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And just let her laugh, because I'm like, I don't want her to be miserable because like at the end, you could definitely tell she was scared, because like she's like, where's Bill? Because my grandfather's Bill.
Oh my goodness.
Where's Bill? And I'm like, Gran, it's okay. He just ran to the store, or he's, went out for a little while because she needed a babysitter at that point. But like, you can just tell, like, she was terrified. Or she'll be like, when are we going home? And I'm like, Grandma, this is our home. Like, we live here, know? So it's just, it's so hard to see somebody that you care and love about, And it's like, they're not there, So it's like, as much as it was hard, she had like a very traumatic passing. So it's like having that situation on top of everything. It just, it hurts my heart, It's like, in my mind, I know she's in a better place. She didn't have quality of life.
Yeah.
She was pretty much disabled because she had knee surgeries and one of the doctors messed up one of her knees. So,
oh my God.
She just had a rough life, And I was literally telling my grandfather, it's like, I know she had her own traumas and her own demons, but it's like, why did she have such a hard life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know, some
why
people...
It's a tough question to ask.
Yeah, because it's like...
You don't always have answers.
I'm like, okay, one bad thing. But it would seem like constantly...
Boom.
Exactly.
I know where we're going towards the end of this episode together, so this is really important that we're having this conversation, I think, for anybody listening, obviously, but for what you and I are going to get to eventually with your profession. But it just does kind of remind you that the time you may have with your family, we just talked about a grandparent, but it could be siblings and parents and each other, kids. It's precious and it's fleeting, and you don't know. Not to be morbid, you don't know how long you're going to have, and I don't mean because someone's going to pass away, but because things happen. The kids grow up, they marry, they move on. Like for a long time, we had these Christmas Eve things when all my siblings were there, right? Well, now I have a lot of siblings. Now they all have significant others. Like they don't come to our Christmas stuff anymore because they're going to their other significant others, right? Nothing negative at all. But these moments are fleeting now, and I'm already seeing that. So I think the world needs more suggestions on how to keep the family unit together, which is a layout for you coming up in a little bit. But I think these conversations are important because someone listening that's like, oh man, my grandmother's kind of getting old too. Like I might be a total nerd about this, but like I feel like that's kind of what I hope someone gets out of these types of conversations is I'm going to call Gran.
Yeah.
If they have a mum or a Mimi or a Meemaw or a Gran or a Granny or a Grandma, whatever you call them, just call them kind of thing because you just don't ever know,
No,
and nothing scary or bad, but even if someone doesn't pass, but they have, something else happen mentally or emotionally that's not the same afterwards, right? Maybe they have a fall and now they're really scared to be alone.
Yep.
Or they have mental health issues. So I appreciate you being comfortable kind of talking about that because I think people need to hear that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, they don't talk about that kind of stuff.
Right.
And not to beat a dead horse, but when you're doing this or this, most likely, you don't see that real part of life. You see
No.
the glamour and glitz.
Exactly.
The one time a year where you're taking a selfie with her. You don't see the other 360 days where you're missing her, right? So,
Exactly.
I'm glad you're kind of in that space. I think it matters for folks.
It does. And I feel like for me, like my family, I know we don't get to see each other like we should. Like even my mom, she works a lot and I work a lot. So it's like when we do get together, we try to make the best of it, right? So it's like family vacations. Like that's the biggest thing. Like my husband missed out on vacation with his dad because he passed away. He had a stroke as well. Um, and it's just like, I wish I did that. I wish I did that. So like for me, like you said, take advantage of that time. Like I know it's hard planning and working schedules, but it's like if you take that 1 year, every year or every other year, family vacation and just make it because it was so much fun. We went and celebrated my grandfather's birthday in South Carolina. He had the best time. And we call him Pop,
Pop,
so
yep.
we
talked
go to
about the
South
women.
Carolina.
There's lots of names for grandfathers too.
But we go to South Carolina, and there is literally because he wanted to go do karaoke for his birthday for whatever reason. God love him.
Request.
He's a party man. So we go in, Pops. So it's literally like
a place called Pops. You took your
Pops.
I mean, that's meant
so
to be.
I was just like, well, I'm like, Pop, this is the best thing I could do for
when
you.
in Rome.
But again, it's just like make the best of your time together, right? Because you don't know how much time you have left with them, or even, God forbid, we don't know what's going to happen to us.
I mean, that's realistic to say. Like, we don't talk about it, right? But like I mentioned about my grandmother, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, like, I didn't have specific events I wish I did, but I wish I did it more. And I did do a lot. I did a lot more. I have a big family, so it's not their fault. I did a lot more than most of my family did at some point because I was closest, right? But at the same time, I wish there was more. And, those opportunities we know are coming. And so let's kind of talk about something that I think exists that I kind of hinted on. I'd love to get your opinion on. And might be a tough question. So if we got to kind of work through it, it's all good. But let's have a conversation about the family unit today and what you're seeing is normal for vacations. Let's kind of have that conversation and kind of explore that if you don't mind.
Of course.
Okay.
So I feel like with family vacations nowadays, it just varies, obviously, because like I come from a blended family myself. I have 2 stepdaughters and I have my son. So for us in our household, we try to do something as far as a different activity each year. So the kids have traveled, all over the place already. And the youngest 2 are 11. So it's like within me and my husband, it's been almost about 6 years we've been together as unit, blended, you know. We have been, all the way out to Vegas. We got married out in Vegas, so we took the kids with us,
Cool.
So it's like everywhere we go, we try to do experiences. So that's for our family. And again, it could vary from every family. There's some people that just want to do couples. There are
mom and daddy time.
So for us, again, it's family vacation and it's couples vacation because again, it's like as a unit, right? You have to be on the same team as you're growing a family, and that for us is important, to have that little bit of alone time.
It's healthy.
And just regroup, right? Because I don't know about you and your wife, but like you get so busy doing a day-to-day thing, right? Like the kids, you take care of them, there's routines,
Time
there's
flies.
school, there's,
you blink.
You know what I mean?
Boom.
And it's like
4 months gone.
a month's gone, a year's gone. So for us, like this year, I'm excited to take them finally out of the country. And spring break in Mexico.
Shut up. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for them this year. Because again, like I have some surprises for them. We're going to do some, fun excursions.
Stuff. Yeah.
But they don't know yet. But my kids love fishing. Like they're big fishers.
Okay.
Like, everything is, can I get the biggest fish?
Love
right?
it.
Give me $20 for the biggest fish,
And fish stories.
So we're hoping to kind of have a little fishing experience in Mexico and get them, excited about that part. But like, again, they're kids, they have and that's what I laugh. I'm like, you're literally just taking your kids to a different place, doing the same routine in a different way, It's like we have fun, but then they're
I
still
mean, you guys are
fighting
probably 10
and
minutes
acting
from
a
Lock
fool.
River Reservoir, so like you could
Yes.
fish there,
Yes.
but it's not the same. You know,
No.
it's just something different.
Nope.
I think you're really hitting on something though, which is kind of what I was asking you about. Is like it's so important about the family unit and remembering that vacation doesn't need to be extravagant. It's about a memory and about rebuilding that familial unit, if that's the right word.
Mm-hmm.
But just getting that time,
yes,
because it's your time. And then, I mean, what you said after that is 100% right. I do believe that husband and wives need to have their own time because it's so important. It's healthy to do that. And I think what your industry has to convey to laypersons like myself is the importance of that time being somewhere else than your home. But it doesn't mean it has to be in Mexico. It can be when you lead up to it. We don't all have the ease of care that you would have with the vacation, given your profession. But I think it's really just something that every family needs to consider as a health perspective, like the health of the family, health of the children, health of the marriage, which I am fully supportive of. And you don't really always equate a vacation with mental health, but my goodness, it is.
It's a reset, you know?
What do you think about that? I mean, mental health, it can be for a couple. It could, God forbid, it could be the reason the marriage stays together if you get alone and just revitalize that relationship, right?
And I agree because, like, again, I've been in a blended family, obviously, but my dad didn't have prior kids, you know? So, like, for us, it's a little bit different, right? So, growing up that way versus living this way, it was hard, you know, because I have 2 grown kids going into it. You know, Charlie was 5 when I met her. Haley was, I think, 12, I believe, going into it. So, it's like, they already are their people, you know what I mean? Like, they have their personalities, they have their ways, you know, and they're girls. They're very, you know, special girls.
Good choice of words.
Moody, special girls.
Yes.
But again, we make the best of it. And we have such different personalities, right? Charlie's the outgoing, wild one that we're in South Carolina and we go on a banana boat and we're like, okay, we're in the middle of the ocean. Jump off. Here's my husband. Woo. Here's me. Woo. Here's Charlie. Woo. The other 2. Nope. Won't do it. And my husband's like, come on, guys. Like, when's the next time you're going to do this? Like, that's the thing. I want them to live like there is no tomorrow, right? I don't want you to take advantage of, or not take advantage, but not grasp what you're doing in that moment, right? Take full advantage of it. Because I know my son, a lot of things hold him back because of, like, anxiety reasons.
Yeah.
So, like, he wouldn't jump off. My stepdaughter, Haley, she's our oldest, and she refused. No, she was terrified. But when we got back to the beach, you know what she said to my husband?
I wish I would have jumped.
I wish I would have jumped off. So for me, I just try my hardest to push these kids. I don't want you to miss out. I don't want you to regret not doing something. And again, it's like we're in Las Vegas. We're on top of the, you know, the tallest.
Oh, yeah.
My kid, he had a heart attack. I don't want to do it. Come on, buddy. Like, just come out. Like, just stand outside for 2 seconds. That's all I'm asking. You know, I thought I was the worst mom in the world because he's terrified of heights. Yeah. I'm terrified of heights. But again, the adrenaline rush, like, facing your fears, like,
I'll tell you, as a fellow height-scared person, if I got that out right, I've been working on it. Roller coasters are now a thing for me. But now, because I'm getting older, it's the shaking because I'm not young anymore. But going to the Minneapolis Arc, the St. Louis Arc, the windows are like 8 inches thick, but they're like 6 feet. So you can get on your hands and knees and then, like,
wow.
What is that called? Is it laying on it, I guess?
I think so.
I did that and then, like, put my hands like this, and it literally feels like you're about to fall. Like, but it was a cool moment. It took me, I mean, honestly, it took me a couple minutes to actually get in the courage to do it, and then I slow walked it, you know, with my hands up. But when I move my hands on the side, I'm like, oh my Lanta, like, this is crazy.
Wild.
So, you know, quick side note, put that into your itinerary.
But that's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
like,
there's a memory,
like
right?
You know what I mean? Like, as scary as it is in that moment, it's not like you're going to feel like that forever, right? We went to Gatlinburg, and the same thing. They have that crossing bridge. And Lord, let me tell you about that bridge. Woohoo!
Oh.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Like you're shaking as everyone's walking. You get to the very middle and it's all glass. So you're walking across glass. And I'm like,
my heart just fluttered.
Oh no. I mean, you should have seen me. I was like running across it. My husband's laughing because he was definitely like sketched out, but it's literally like a wave.
Does he like screw with you too? Like,
oh, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
My
but
dude.
he's scared, himself, but he's got to be the tough guy.
Well, one thing to do with your fears is to enhance someone else's, right? I don't think about my own height so bad if I'm freaking you out.
Well, they take you up this lift, so you think you're going to like slopes or whatnot. So you're going up, 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 and it's like you're not like slow incline. You're going up. So I'm like, oh my gosh, and he's laughing and laughing. I was like, ugh. But once we got up there, he realized what I was saying. I'm like, yeah, it's scary, isn't it, there, buddy?
Oh, that's fun. What is the name of that? Do you remember the name?
Oh goodness.
It's gonna bug you.
I have it off the top of my head. I'll have to get back to you about that, and I'll have to let everyone know. But it's amazing.
Yeah,
it was the best thing we did, and it has different options, and you can get your picture taken up there, and it's the coolest experience. Again,
I love that,
and that's what we like to do. We're experienced people.
I saw one of those little wooden things you can like lay around the house that said, "We're not making messes, we're making memories." And I feel like as you were talking about that, I recalled that, and I'm thinking that's the importance of this vacation concept, right? And I'm not discounting the fact that an all-out, all expenses paid resort thing is badass. I'm not saying that, but I think for the average family, budget is something that they're scared about. So I'm just trying to reinforce with you and for the audience that it doesn't have to be that. It's just getting away from your space into another space and being together.
Exactly.
But while you do that, like going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is not a destination per se, but heck, I mean, it's 5 states away from Maryland, so that counts. There's a ride or a plane to get there, and that's sometimes the road trip is part of the fun.
We do a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
So we are.
I was going to ask you.
We have done a lot of flying, right? But we've also done a lot of driving. So we drove all the way down to Canada. Actually, up, not down.
Oh, you're from Baltimore. Everything's down.
Exactly. It's down the street. My husband yells at me.
Where's that? Down
time.
There. Down there.
He's like, baby, it's not down the street. I'm like, it's down the street. Like, he laughed. He thinks I'm hilarious. But realistically, we drove 6.5 hours. So like, I think our longest was probably about 8 hours to 9 hours.
With kids.
With kids.
That's tough.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But we made it work. Because again, there's sometimes. Like we love to go up to New York now. My husband, that's where his dad always took him as a kid.
Yeah.
So his biggest thing was, I want to take my kids there. So with him passing and all, it was kind of hard.
Because he had a memory.
Exactly.
And he wanted to recreate that.
And he is. And that's what I love about it. Like we are always on the same page when it comes to traveling, right? Like he's never been out of the country until he met me.
Wow.
He went on his first trip to Jamaica
my
cousin's, my cousin and his to-be wife got married in Jamaica.
Oh,
so we had a whole family trip with a wedding. It was just the coolest experience. So I'm like, he just had top-notch experience. So he's like,
they set the bar a little high. Yeah, this is the bar. It's not always like that, right?
I'm like, relax. He's like, baby. He's like, we just sell everything. We'll just move to Jamaica. And I'm like, I love you, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, let's put that in the bucket.
But he loves it because, again, he got off the plane and they're like, welcome home, man, or, whatever they said.
Man.
And he's like,
welcome home, man.
He said they talked to my heart.
To Jamaica.
They said it right to my heart.
Yeah. He was waiting. That guy was waiting for me. He was waiting for me.
And he was.
Yeah.
And he really was because we had specific people to pick us up, to take us to, customs and all that.
Awesome.
And I'm like, you're so foolish.
But that experience, like if kids don't get that experience, I think everybody should have something like that once in a lifetime at least. You know what I mean? And when you go to the Mexican resorts, like tourism's a major part of their economy. So they treat you like you'd want to be treated. Not that we're anybody special, right? We're just Baltimore folks.
Right.
But they treat you like you want to be treated. And it's the experience they can create for your family is awesome. And, not everybody has a butler at home. No. So it's fun to have someone that waits on you. And when you go to the restaurants at those resorts, like it's not the same. Like they enjoy. It's not like going to a restaurant in Baltimore where that young person's trying to pay for college or something, where that's their this is their entire life is tourism. So you do get that experience that you might never get before. And it's cool to see the kids see that.
Exactly.
It just adds to that experience. All right. So let me take a tiny turn, not a big turn. How did you get into the travel business? Where did that kind of happen? I was about to say in your travels, but I don't know that my grammar teacher would kill me for that growing up. But tell me how that journey connected from this to that.
So.
I'm holding on. Here we go.
I am the jack of all trades. I've always been that way. I like to learn things. I like to do new things.
Yeah.
It's almost like I can't sit still kind of thing, right? So.
Doing a great job sitting still today.
I know, right? For once. So I'm scrolling through my phone. And it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning, like I always am.
Of course.
Because I never sleep, it feels like.
Doom scrolling. Boom, boom, boom.
And I come across this ad, and it's, about a home travel agency. And I was like, I travel. I love to travel. Why not do it for someone else, And after that point, it was March that I had just planned our wedding, right?
So 6 years ago.
So we actually only been married.
5.
We've been married 2 years.
Oh, I misheard you then. I thought you said you.
No, we've been together.
That's what I heard.
Together, almost 6 years. But so that's kind of really what sparked it for me, right?
A midnight scroll,
and I just the wheels start turning, and I was like, why not, right? Like, what do I have to lose? So I go in, and our company is a host agency.
All right.
So they're a big, huge corporation that oversees everyone. So I have a mentor above me. So people look at it like, oh, I don't want to get into that kind of stuff. So they help us with the back end of it, right? So like they take care of insurance and any fraudulent stuff
business
like that,
stuff.
Right? The business paperwork, I don't want to deal with that, right? I just want to do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I pay them,
Amen.
right? I pay them their little fee, right? It's not much, and then I do the rest.
They provide a service to you, and you don't mind paying
my business. I do it how I want to do it. I work when I want to work. It's no strings attached, right? So, not knowing any of this, I just go into it, and I was like, okay, I signed up for it. I got
Why not?
all my certificates. I did my trainings and all that. So I was like, okay. My husband comes home and was like, so I did something. He's like,
how was your day? I did a thing.
I was like,
Every husband's heard this before.
So I'm a travel agent. He goes, what?
How was your day, honey? Oh, good. I'm a travel agent. How was your day?
Right? It's just a Thursday or a Friday. I can't remember which day it was, but it was literally going into the weekend, and I was like, kind of did something, babe. And he's
okay.
He is. That's what I love about him. He is down for whatever I want, right?
Oh, that's cool.
My previous life wasn't that way, So for this moment, like I'm a hot spirit, if that makes sense. Where like I know what I want and I want to do it now, right? I don't want to wait. I don't want to, rely on someone. I want to do it, and I want to do it right now myself.
Yeah.
Right. So here I am. I do this, and the whole philosophy was going into it was I had some stresses doing it myself, right? Planning for Vegas and getting everybody to get their stuff together. You know what I mean? So like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I love, I'm like, let's do honeymoons. Let's do destination weddings, like let's go in that path, right?
That space.
And I'm like, that's what realistically, that's my goal, right? I want to push more for that this year, right? Because right now I do a lot of family vacations, couples, stuff like that. But
which, as we spoke, is very important.
It is. It is very important.
But you're passionate about kind of adding this other part to your business.
Yes, for sure. Because again, jack of all trades, like I told you, I have gone to hair school. So like I've been in the wedding business, right? Hair and makeup. And then like catering, I did catering, like part-time kind of thing. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them, but the Linwoods and Owings Mills.
Yes.
So I've worked for them.
Okay.
And
they're big.
Oh, they're a wonderful company too. And I've done weddings for them, right? So I've been on all aspects.
In the wedding bubble, the space.
Yes. So like that's my thing. I'm like, I love the wedding sides, or even just celebrations, right? Your birthday. You're turning 50 today. Let's go make it a crazy, fun, amazing trip. Make a
memory.
So that's my aspect of the travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like for me, I just want to make sure that people are heard, right? They want to do these fun experiences and they want to celebrate life, even if it's good or bad. Like maybe they're getting divorced. God forbid, but
Oh, that's a thing now, right?
that's a
Divorce
thing.
parties or
Oh,
divorcee. I don't know if I'm using the right word or not, but I've seen the
it's
females
a whole
have these fun,
divorce
like,
party,
yeah,
getaway, whatever you want to celebration,
yes,
whatever you want to call it. And it happens. And even like bachelorette parties now, right?
yeah.
They're going to Nashville. They're going to
Oh,
Miami.
that's
like,
80% of Nashville's tourism
you
is
know what
bachelorette
I mean?
parties.
So
Yeah.
it's just that aspect, right? Like that's what I like to do. That's my favorite, like, little side thing.
Niche.
Exactly.
So that I've got to ask you, because now that you said that, you said talk about all these fun things. If you don't have an answer for this or you don't want to, just cue me and I'm good with it, okay? What's the craziest thing someone's asked you to plan? Like, is there some weird thing you're like, okay, I got you, girl. This is different, but I got it. Is it all vanilla, or is there something really? And don't use names, obviously, or but is there something? Wow, you were like, wow, that's a first.
So it wasn't like a wow, but it was more of I'm a part of a few groups on Facebook, and it's for travel agents and stuff, like someone needing assistance. And actually, amazing client that working for her, and she had reached out and said, she's not sure if someone could help her, but she had a death in the family, and she had to fly over to Vegas for a funeral and all. And I'm like, if nobody wanted to help you, like I'm willing, whatever it takes.
Why wouldn't they want to help her?
I don't know. Some people are really weird about it. Like
really?
Some people just only want to do what they want to do.
In their own lanes.
So there's say Disney fanatics, they only want to book Disney. Or there's, say,
I mean, Vegas was obviously Disney, Vegas.
And it's not a big deal. Like, and she was the sweetest person. Like, I have her now as a good friend, it feels like, because she reached out to me. She's like, we're supposed to be getting engaged soon. And I'm like rooting this poor girl all the way. She don't even know me from Adam, And I'm like, I'm excited for her, right? I've seen her go through that stuff, right? Yeah. And now here she is. She's going to get married. She's going to go on a honeymoon, So, like, we had that relationship all because of a death in her family, right? Gosh. So, like, it sucks that it started that way, but I wouldn't change it for a second,
And she probably ended up latching onto you in a professional way, because you didn't have any kind of bias where, like, oh, you're not this or that destination thing. You're not Bahamas or Caribbean or Mexico or Disney. You just have a specific purpose. And I can kind of see now as I'm playing this out in my head, wow, that stood you out as being different. But as a business owner, we want to connect with a client any way we can. And now that you made that connection, you're now a trusted resource for her the next opportunity that comes up.
Exactly.
Oh, that's perfect.
So it's, for me, I guess it's hard for people just to trust someone, right? So for me, it's anything that I can do to satisfy you in a professional way, right? Like, here I am, I've done hair, right? Like, you make a mistake or something, somebody doesn't like it, or, you're going to have difficult clients sometimes, It's all a part of the business, So, like, for me, it's just like, I listen to my clients. If they don't want something, off the list it goes,
Yeah.
It's like, you tell me, so I kind of do like a little interview, I guess you would say, just kind of get in the grasp of what they want to do, right? Where do they want to go? How long do they want to stay?
Yeah.
Ideally, what's a budget, right? What's comfortable? Some people are like,
that's a huge part of it.
I don't have a budget. Well, do you want to pay $200 a night, or do you want to pay $2,000 a night? Like,
I don't have a budget, and then there's
so
I
many.
need a top and bottom number.
Right.
Bora Bora is $10,000 a week, so
exactly.
Hey,
So, like, that's the only
actually
thing
that's $40,000 a week. But yeah.
You don't even want to know. But that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, I guess, are confused because they're just shopping, if that makes sense, or window shopping, I guess. But it's like, the biggest thing for a client for me would be, hey, you need to have a location. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Even if it's not just a specific, hey, I want to go exactly here, right? Do you want to go to the mountains? Do you want to go to the beach?
Yeah.
Do you want to go somewhere that's hot? Do you want to go somewhere that's cold? What kind of activities you're looking to do? So, like, that all helps, me figure out, okay, this is a great location based off of a budget, right? Or this is a great location because it's couples only. Or this is a great vacation because it's an amazing family resort, And I love all-inclusive. Like, that's my top-notch favorite thing to do.
Yeah, it's the ease of mind.
It's my favorite, right? You walk in, you're treated like a king and a queen. You sit down to dinner, you eat dinner, and see you later. You don't pay a dime because it's already paid for, right? Yeah. And the good thing is, with our profession, we're able to give different pathways for budget, right? So say, hey, I can't afford it right now, but I could put down a deposit, right? A lot of people can't do that with your booking.com or your Priceline or Expedia, right? You have to pay that up front half the time. Unless you get lucky, there's that pay now or deposit now, pay at the resort kind of thing. But honestly, like when you work for those other side, I'll say third parties, they have such terrible customer service.
Yeah.
And it's like you're dealing with me personally, right? If you're unhappy, you call me, you text me. Like I'm always available for my clients. You're in Jamaica, you're in, wherever you're at. I don't care where you're at. There's an issue. I always tell my clients, please call me. Please let me know. And I like to check in on them. Like, hey, how's, everything
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Once you got there, because you're paying for a service, right? You're not just paying for me to, oh, here's your trip and go, right? I'm start to finish, right? Beginning, during, after. Is there any issues after? I like to resolve that because I don't want to go somewhere that's horrible and you've had a horrible experience, right? I'm only going to book my clients where I feel comfortable staying, right?
I think that's huge.
And it's like, again, I know budget sometimes, you're not going to stay at the best place, but I'm not going to push you somewhere where the bugs. Like,
the Roach Motel kind of,
you know what I mean?
0
like,
to 10s, right?
I'm going to be like, listen, I'm sorry, but this is the best I can give you, without going, the dirt cheap, obviously. But it's like, a lot of people don't realize that, right? You put down, let's just say a cruise, right? You want to go on a cruise next year. You can put down your deposit now, say $500 now, and then you pay monthly if you want to. You can wait and save it all up and pay it a lump sum.
I didn't know that was an option.
And that's the thing. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, man.
And it's like, for me, they don't understand the whole the concept of the commission base, right? So we're a commission-based, I guess, company or nationwide, So you're booking with the third parties. They're getting that payment. It's always built into your price, right?
You can assume it is, right? But you never see it.
You don't see it because it goes directly to them, right? So, like, you're booking with a normal person right here, Like, you're helping my family. You're helping, the community because I always love to reach out back to them. Because, again, it's all about supporting each other, right? Small businesses are always for small businesses, because
that's why you're sitting here
today.
It's
hard,
Yeah. Well, so, all right. So let's take a second and talk about the journey of someone deciding they want to take a vacation, because I got a couple of questions I want to ask you about what percentages you're seeing, like generally speaking.
Okay.
I'd love to think the audience would kind of hear that because I know you're going to enjoy this kind of creative process, but let's kind of talk about that and see where that goes.
Okay.
Okay, so if you had to give me a number, let's say out of 100 customers, what is the percentage of people who say, Amanda, here's what I want, where I want to go, how I want to stay, and what do you got for me?
I'd say probably about 30%.
So 3 out of 10.
Majority, right? So it's usually like, hey, I want to take my child to Disney, They know exactly where they want to go.
They're specifically calling for a specific concept.
They know when they want to go. They know where they want to go. They know where they want to stay sometimes. Like, hey, I want to stay at this resort. That's amazing. That's the best client in the whole entire world, right? Like, they know what they want. There's nothing changing their mind. I don't even have to waste time on like, oh, well, check this date, check that date. Because, like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? But it's just such a waste because it's like every time you turn it around, it's going to be a different price, right?
Yeah.
Certain days you go on this day, it's going to be a little bit more. Certain days on that, or even seasons, right? Certain seasons are higher than others, right?
Yeah.
You're paying $500 versus $200, in certain seasons. But again, I love those clients.
Well, every business has their version of a layup, and you enjoy those moments, right?
Exactly.
The majority of them aren't, though.
Exactly.
Which is why you need someone who hopefully meet in person and not some online-only thing. But let's talk about the other 7 out of 10.
Exactly.
The ones that have an idea of the vacation, period, end of sentence, blank space.
Right.
So I would imagine that those are the people that need the most help getting to their, I was going to say final destination, that didn't come out right. Getting to their decision-making process. Not as a sale kind of thing, but to help them turn it over to you at that point.
Exactly.
So Walk me through that. So I call you and say, "Hi, I'm Joe. I have a family of 6. We want a vacation," and then I get real quiet and a bunch of crickets in the room. Where do you start at that point?
So honestly, I would start with, okay, hi Joe. I would say, who consists of that family of 6, right? How many adults, how many children? Because that does make a difference.
Yeah,
right?
age is a grandparent.
Age is definitely, so if we're talking 12 and under, I need to know exactly what dates, or not dates, but when we're traveling, how old they would be, right? Because you might be planning.
When they're going to be.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting.
So,
okay.
say passport, right? I need to know.
The P word. Yeah.
I need to know all the information, right? Listen, it's happened. People will give you, say, this is my name in real life, but my passport does not match.
Oh.
That passport has to match what's going
Lovely.
on our reservation.
Yeah.
And if not, that does cost more money to fix that situation, right?
I've been at an airport. I'm a third. And I've been at an airport where my passport had a third and my my driver's license had the third and my passport didn't.
Oh goodness.
And that was drama.
So, yeah. And it's chaos, right?
Yeah.
And my whole job is to have you stress free, right? You call me for a service and you're gonna get it. You're gonna have it planned A to Z. You literally pack your bags, you get on your flight or you drive your car wherever you may be going, and it's gonna be amazing, right? Because everything's already planned out for you. You have no worries other than taking what you need, right? Packing every essential you may need, medication, God forbid if you need some sunscreen.
Yeah.
Everybody forgets the sunscreen.
Well, we're both the sunscreen needing type, so we're a little fair skinned, shall we say. So.
But again, it's just, it all depends on where you want to go, right? And you say, hey, you want to take your family of 6, what kind of vacation are you looking for? Are you looking for like a beach vacation? Somewhere close to the water?
Yeah.
Are you looking to go, I don't know, say a lake house? Are you looking to go to the mountains?
Yeah.
Are you looking to go on, crazy, extravagant, luxury vacations across, the seas?
Yeah, Italy.
What are you looking to do, right? Because I've had a client reach out for Italy, and I had a client go to Greece, actually. So it depends on which way they want to go, right? Yeah. So sometimes they don't even realize how much it costs. So then that's where the budget comes in, right?
And they may take a few steps forward in their journey, realize budget's going to change, and have to go backwards and
And it happens. It does happen, right? In your lovely dreams, you want to go to Greece, and it's, say, $5,000 and your budget's only $15,000, So you have to, and you can make it work. Let me tell you, you can make it work.
Yeah.
You just have to find different kind of qualities of your stay, right? You may not sit on the water, right? You may be inland of, the town or something like that.
Yeah.
So as long as you're flexible, and that's the biggest thing for me. Flexibility is the greatest thing if you're a travel client, right? I have some people that are not flexible and they have to have certain dates. But again, sometimes it's going to cost more money. Are you willing to cost more money, or would you like me to save you by sending you on a different date, right? Because that's what I see the dates, right? Say you just say May, right? And I look through and I say, okay, this is the best time to travel in May. And I go from there. And I just pick a random, if you say 7 days.
Start somewhere.
I just pick a random 7 days, right? And I kind of look around and see, you get a price, and then I'm able to go from there, right? And then I'm able to say you're taking your family to all inclusive, right? Is it a family resort or kid appropriate, right? Is it little baby stuff? Do you have teenagers? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the biggest thing. Because I'm not going to send teenagers to some baby water park, right? Yeah. You want them to have a good experience.
Which is silly to say that, but it matters.
It matters.
And when you're planning on your own, you might not realize that.
Yep. And that's the thing. And again, you have, say, a client wants to go on their honeymoon, right? You're not going to send them to a family resort that has kids running all around.
Great point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you're there for romance. You're there
adults
for
only situation.
Adults only, right? I love my kids. God, I love my kids. But there's times and places for the kids
Mommy, daddy
to be
time.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that's just, a lot of people don't think about that stuff, right? So, anytime it's romantic, family, I always know that difference. Adults only, that's the way I want to go for my clients that want that romantic, or even just say husband and wife, right? We just want to get away. It's our 10th anniversary. I want to send you there because you have a family already.
Yeah.
You get that alone time. You get that refreshment. You get that reset, right? And then it's like, here I have my family over here. And we want to do all the fun stuff. We want to do water parks. We want to do, say, ATVs. We want to do jet skis. You know, whatever it is that financially you can afford, you know, it can happen. I mean, I can plan A to Z vacation wise. You know, I can every day we're going to go on excursions. It depends on your price range, right? Like, there's some excursions that are not as
and it's
much.
all good. There's nothing wrong. There's no
nothing.
price budget shaming. It's you set the budget and then you'll help work with it. Yep. You know, I had to learn something really interesting with my wife and I, and that we're not huge excursion people. Mm-hmm. And that means that the room has to be a little nicer.
Exactly.
Not luxury, but it has to feel like a destination place. Because we spend a lot of time in the room, not just because of our romantic, desire to get away from the kids, but just because that's our space, right? Yes. We're going to have coffee in the morning. We're going to go get breakfast and bring it back because we just want to be together. And we need the room to be nice.
Exactly.
As opposed to with a family, like just because you said the big D, Disney, I would challenge people to realize your room does not need to be that big of a deal because you're at parks all day.
Exactly.
And when you come home, whether it's midday or nighttime, you are spent. You need to put your head down to go to sleep and wake up. That room doesn't need to function as a resort.
No,
and that's where all the extra money comes from.
Exactly.
Right. And that realization, I can imagine a lot of folks wouldn't realize that, but when it clicked for us, I'm like, okay, let's just call a spade a spade. I need a bed.
Exactly.
I don't even need a room or a hotel. I need a bed because we're going to be at all these different things.
Yes.
And when you realize that, it really changes your availability of your budget for other things because you're not spending it on the bed.
So even say Orlando, right? We went to Universal with the kids and we stay off premises because it's cheaper, right? So we actually go to Holiday Inn. It's like a club resort kind of thing. So it's a whole beautiful thing itself, right? You know, and water park, rock climbing walls, you know, activities, you know, all arcades, everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's our vibe, right? Instead of staying on park, you know, locations like Disney, you're paying more money for staying on the property.
Yeah.
You can drive, you know, 5-10 minutes out the street if you're okay with that, right? Like, I mean, again, not everybody is going to have a vehicle, you know, because some people fly and they don't want to buy the extra expense, you know. But it all just depends, right? If you're willing to work with, because my thing is, I'm not trying to make it the cheapest vacation you've ever been on, but I want it to be financially comfortable, right? I don't want to take people broke, you know, because that's not the point of my job, right? My job is an experience, to have a good time, memories, just all that in one, you know. I'm not here to make $1 million off of a client, you know. I just want them to feel that feeling I feel when I'm on vacation, right?
I think that's huge, Amanda, because I do think there is this misconception that a travel agent is just looking for those bucks.
And they do.
What you just said, this could be naivety in speaking to your industry, but I don't think everybody's like that, right? No. I think the reality of you just said to a listener, an audience member who's considering a vacation is, you give me your budget, period, and I'll maximize that budget.
Yes.
I think that is in itself an incredible service. Add in the itinerary and the planning, great, right? But the fact that I've got $2,000 and I am comfortable with this number, and if we spend it, I'm comfortable. I don't want to find out the $2,000 for the bed.
Exactly.
And then there's another $2,000 hiding between the meals, the transportation, and the excursions, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's huge what you just said. I don't know if you realize how big that is, because I think that's what the fear of a lot of families, myself included, even stops them from having a vacation.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck right now, right? Because
that's the world we live in right now.
Everything is so expensive. I don't want people to lose out on things that they can do it, right? Say you pay $20 a week, right? Or say you pay, you know, $100 a week, whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you save it up. So say you're going on vacation next year, you plan it now, you put down your deposit.
Yeah.
You're able to pay up until, 3 months prior, so you have time and it's feasible for a family, right? You have expenses. I know my kids play sports, there's always money being spent somewhere.
Yeah.
But when you break it down like that, right? What's $100 at the grocery store? It's two things, right?
Nowadays,
let's
it's a lot
be
less
serious,
than it was, 5 years ago.
You're wasting $100 in 10 minutes, so it's like, here you are, you can budget, obviously. and I don't want to make it sound like everybody has $100 extra all the time.
No,
but
point taken though.
again, it's more feasible that way, right? You're able to break that down because I do have different vendors, right? Where there's some people that want to pay it all up front. That's great too. And I have more flexibility with that because I do have my rates that I'm able to kind of work around, and I'm able to give my pricing to my clients, right? And it's only my pricing. So sometimes it'll be a little bit better of a quality, right? There's all different resorts on this, and it's nationwide, it's worldwide, You can go to Belize if you really wanted to, or the Maldives, So it's just making sure we have what that client wants, and I follow through, and they had that experience. It warms my heart,
I love that.
Just to hear, hey, I went on my birthday trip and it was the best ever, right? It was an amazing view. Because that's the thing, like you said, the room. The room really matters. Some people want that ocean view.
Yeah, the view.
They want that.
They want that window.
Yes.
Some people don't care about that.
And listen, I'm a little bougie with that. I am that woman.
Because you know what you want, right? Like that allows you to make those choices and budget accordingly.
I do. I love my mountain views. I love my ocean views. Like that's what I want. And that's what I look for, right? And that's why I always ask my clients, do you care about the room category, right? If you don't, we'll put you either in a garden, by the pool, like wherever it's more convenient for pricing, right? So if it's a little bit cheaper over on this side, we'll put you there so you can then spend money elsewhere.
It'll add up per day over a week or 4 days.
It does.
So me being the numbers guy, being in the mortgage business, like what I just heard was something crazy too. Like as somebody who would never call me and ask me, hey, Joe, I want a budget for a vacation. But what I see is the after effect where a young family makes a mistake financing a $10,000 Disney trip.
Yes.
And then a year later wants to buy a house and it's still there. And there's still $9,800 a year later from that $10,000 trip. I'm not knocking a $10,000 trip. But I think what you said is huge too. If you put away 20, 40, 60, 80, it will add up. Mm-hmm. Even if it's only half or 25%, if you know you're going to have a vacation need out in the future, even 1 year, maybe, heaven forbid, 2 years,
we book
you
out
could really,
2 years.
That's what I wanted to say, is you probably could book out.
We do.
And if you have that pre-budgeted savings account for that, what magic is that? Because then you're not breaking your budget. And I think more people need to hear that. And and you mentioned it earlier, until you said like you can start to prepay, I'm like, oh wow. Because that to me, that's a big deal. Because there are people right now who are experiencing financial difficulty because of the economy we're living in. But if you really want to, you can sacrifice on one Starbucks coffee a day.
Agreed.
Which, by the way, is $35 a week. Which, by the way, quick math, that's a lot of money in a year.
Right.
That's probably a vacation.
It's a good vacation.
One Starbucks cup a day.
It's true.
For business people, they're in and out, in and out, in and out. That is a vacation a year.
It is.
So that conversation needs to be had more too.
Agreed. A little sacrifice, And again, it's if you really want something, you're gonna do it.
You're gonna do it.
And that's how I am. I live that philosophy, right? Like there's been sacrifices I've made in my own personal life to go on vacations, right? Because I wasn't always a travel agent, So it's like I know these tricks of the trade now.
Yeah.
And I know how to help a family, Because you don't want to spend hundreds of $1,000s to go on these, cruises or even.
If you do want to spend $100,000, you should still call Amanda. However, if you don't, you should also still call Amanda.
Agreed.
Yes.
But again, I'm a normal person that lives a normal life, right?
Yeah.
Just like everyone else out there. I'm not, out here making millions of dollars on booking vacations, which I would love to.
God willing.
But again, I'm for the people. I've always been a people person. I've always been customer service is number one, right?
Yeah.
The old school mindset, right? The customer's always right. They may not always be right, but you're going to make it where you're going to take whatever, again, some people will take advantage, but you know what I'm saying? Like you take care of your people.
More people appreciate it though than are going to take advantage of it.
They do. And again, you have that choice of your clientele, right? I don't have to. They call me, I don't have to call them back. I don't have to book every vacation. I can deny people. But that's not who I am, right?
Yeah.
I want to help everybody in their own different situation.
I can tell that.
I have them wings. I just want to take everybody in.
All right, so let's ask a couple of quick questions and I'm going to let you go because you've been awesome today. So number one, who is an ideal client for you? Now, obviously, anybody that wants to have a vacation is a client, but even before that, who's an ideal person that should say, maybe I should call Amanda?
So I think it's a little bit of everybody. So we have clientele as far as, do you like adventure, right? We have a lot of adventurous people that don't realize they can also take advantage because we have, cross country stuff that,
Trust me, I know. Everybody's different. As you said, adventure, I'm thinking what I'm never going to do
right.
is this, and this.
I mean, listen, I'm not knocking anybody,
Yeah.
but I'm not going on a 5K run on my vacation.
I'm not that guy.
I'm not going to the gym
I have a friend
on
that
my
would.
vacation.
I have a friend that actually planned one in Boston, and that was her thing.
And that's
God bless her.
There's nothing.
Not this guy.
Listen, nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Just not who I am.
Yeah.
But I'm saying those people, they wouldn't think to call a travel agent, right?
Yeah.
Because they're just going to get a room for the night, and maybe they're going to drive, maybe they're going to fly. But I can help assist them, right? I can help get a group.
That's huge.
If it's a bunch of people that you know, right? If it's a team, sports team, you wouldn't even think about that, right? I don't know about your family, but like travel, baseball, soccer, football.
So a sports team would benefit as a group calling an agent versus just smile and dial?
Of course.
Shut up. That's crazy.
You're getting a group discount.
We live in Harford County and Baltimore County, and there are sports everywhere. Lacrosse is insane. Baseball is absolutely insane.
And it costs a lot of money.
That's huge.
Again, I don't know who plans all their stuff, but they're willing to call. I can help them, right? I usually work with Parkville Baseball because that's my son. That's who we support.
Sure.
But again, they have a travel team and love John dearly. He's a great person. He runs their the baseball.
Yeah.
And he reached out. He's like, hey, listen, we have, a travel thing coming up. Do you mind if I put you in the email? And I was like, of course. I'm like, go for it. I'm like, just put my information down and you just tell them any questions, call me.
Dude,
right?
You rocked me saying that. Because, that makes, once you said it, I'm like, like,
but you don't think of that stuff,
I would never have thought that.
No, you don't.
I'm so glad you said that.
Because even like for me, I did cheerleading, right? We went to Ocean City. We had to find a place to stay.
I should have said that. My family's going to kill me. All my family's cheerleaders. But yeah, especially around here, there's a Viper, I think, squad.
Yes.
They travel more than baseball teams.
They do. And again, you want to get that group discount rate, right? You don't want to pay full price for...
Every parent's like, please.
Yes. Listen, I told you, I'm all about... I know how it goes. Sports are not cheap. If we can discount that room that you could put towards, say, food or, whatever. Because again, it costs money to go. It costs money to feed your kids. It costs, depending on if you're able to fly or not, because if you're in Florida, you might need a car, you know. You're not going to Uber everywhere. So it's just, again, you have to think of the bigger picture. It's not just rainbows and butterflies and oceans and mountains. it's normal life.
Sports. Sports, travel sports.
Yeah.
All right, so expand outside of the who, and then what? What businesses would benefit from knowing who you are and how to contact you?
So I would love just to go into the business aspect too, because you have a lot of big corporations that I don't know how handle their whole travel. Like if you had to fly out to another area, I know a lot of people do business travel, right? They have to be there for meetings and whatnot. So like, I'm open to a lot of different businesses because I feel like I kind of coincide with a lot of them as well because of knowing the business side and also knowing the travel side, right? Because I've been in the business side for years.
Yeah. I'll share with you that about 10 years ago, I won a trip at my office, the mortgage company I worked for, and it's the first time my wife and I went to Mexico. And the owner of the company said, here's the budget I have for your trip. Because I'd said, like, well, what are you going to plan it for me?
Right.
I don't want to, waste his money. And he was like, no, here's a travel agent's number. Okay. I didn't think about that till you said that. This is a long time ago. And call her and tell her this is the budget and then see what you can do. And I still engaged in that thing, but it was a gift. It was I won a prize, but there's a lot more than thank you for my prize, right, to that. But if a business is considering doing that, they're probably going to save money by knowing what to do and how to do it versus just, again, smiling and dialing. And what business owner wants to provide that gift and then get involved? They don't want to do that. Exactly. So maybe that's another avenue of revenue for you is to talk to businesses who are thinking about, President's Club style things for their producers. And that might work out as well.
Or even, I know some companies do like a whole vacation work thing
Together,
right? So like I've heard corporations taking their I can't really say customers, their employees on say cruises.
Oh yeah.
Or
That's
doing
right.
like team building,
Team bonding.
You know what I mean? So like that's
Gatlinburg would be a cool team bonding and that crazy bridge thing you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But stuff like that, like I don't know how to reach out myself because it's like, how do I win them over, right? Yeah. You know, because that's the day and age.
Well, they need to watch my podcast. That's the answer.
Watch
Shameless
Joe's
plug.
podcast.
Yes, that's funny. That's funny.
But again, it's just, I'm newer in that aspect of the business travel, right? Yeah. So I'm not sure how to even sell myself to them because it's like, what do they want out of me, right? They're just booking X, Y, and Z. But it's like, if we have that bond, I'm able to save them revenue on their own, right? Because obviously they have a budget. They have to stick to it. If they have this certain ballpark that they're okay with.
Well, I'm imagining a business owner that's trying to think of some sort of incentive to any type of bonus structure that they have where they could include it and maybe a performance bonus of some kind. And if you would call Amanda, I mean, based on what we've talked about today, you can have an open-ended conversation about, here's my idea. I don't have a budget, but there is going to be a budget. But I don't know it yet. What do you recommend? And here's what I'm trying to accomplish. It sounds like you'd love to have that conversation with the business owner and say, okay, well, if you're thinking, like you said, a beach thing or a inside the continental U.S. or outside of it kind of thing, you can kind of lead them down that road. So it might be a much more streamlined way to have that conversation as a business owner, as opposed to, hey, let's give somebody, a bonus or something, vacation or whatever. Right. This is more tailored. That might be a cool thing for you as well.
And then I also, I like to try to give back as far as like different, I would say like we do a cancer bull roast for a family friend. And we try to do a basket for each. So I'm even willing to help if anybody has
a travel basket.
Any kind of travel basket that they need for
bull roasts are huge.
The kids,
sports. Yeah.
It could be for a family that's having hard times, or anything that you could think of. I love to be a part of that kind of stuff. So if anyone's willing or needs, any help,
you should include sun lotion.
I'm always, trust me. Listen, I put all the essentials in there because you don't think about them.
But you do.
I do, because I know. Like I pack the whole kitchen sink when I go on vacation. You would never even realize.
The zinc.
The zinc.
All right, so I really like your vibe, Amanda. So, question for you. I'm kind of a nerd. I'm a Marvel guy. One of my kids just walked by as we're recording this. He didn't realize we were recording. But I think everybody has a superpower. And inside of that space, that some people have not discovered it yet. That's kind of the fun thing about the movies while you watch them. But do you have a superpower? If so, what is it? What have you found in your journey of life?
So I don't know if it's a superpower, but it's almost like a sixth sense, right? Like I have very much intuitive powers, right? Like I feel a lot, right? Sounds a little crazy, but
no.
I'm able to say I can meet you and I can feel the energy that you vibe off, right?
Okay.
When people are anxious, I can feel their energies. It makes me anxious, right? So when you're comfortable, I'm comfortable. So it's almost like
Are you an empath, I guess?
Yes, I'm very empathic,
okay.
Right? But I think it's on a different kind of level, right? Because I've met other empathic people, but they don't feel as strongly as I do. Maybe I'm just on a different level.
Empathy's more mental. I think what you're describing is you kind of feel
it's like a whole body experience. Okay. It's so wild, I've met somebody and I'm like, you are like, you've been in my life forever. You know what I mean? Like, I must have known you in another life,
Wow.
That kind of.
Okay.
It's wild. It literally freaks me out sometimes because I'm like, why am I like this? Like, why do I feel all these emotions, But it's a good thing sometimes because it's like I'm able to get down on that person's level, right? I feel what you're feeling. If you have sorrow, if you're happy, I'm cheering you along,
Yeah. Because you vibe that pretty quickly.
Yes. I'm able to read people in 2 seconds, right? And it's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, you know, because it's like I feel bad if I get bad energy from somebody and I'm like, ew, they just give me the heebie-jeebies, and it's something's just not right, But it's a wild
No, that's cool though. And I think that in your personal relationships as well as professional, I think that people would feel that vibe and it helps you engage with them in ways that they're not going to feel that. One of my superpowers is kind of like that, where I can meet somebody and within 5 minutes they feel like they've known me for 20
Yeah,
years. And it's because
exactly.
it's not a deceptive thing. Like it's not a skill. Like I just have this thing where
It's like
like
an
I'm gonna make you feel
yeah.
comfortable. I have a need to make you feel comfortable and I'm pretty good at it.
Yes.
And it's not disingenuous. I want you to feel comfortable.
Right.
So it just kind of happens that way. So that's neat. I like that. So I'll try to find a word for that one, but that's pretty special.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it, but it's definitely a whole, I get goosebumps sometimes
Yeah.
off of
I think
like
Sixth Sense
certain.
sounds kind of cool,
It,
right? Like
it's the only way to explain it. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like sometimes I think I freak myself out because I'm like, am I just a weirdo? Like, am I the only one that feels like this all the
extra
time?
sensory perception. ESP.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm like, sometimes I don't want to have it because like I
You don't want it.
feel like in big crowds. So like I went to a convention and I was like, oh my gosh, like on overload,
Just
right?
Five.
Because it's so much going on, and it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, sometimes I have to take a step back and
I can
like
see that.
breathe, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. I have to like coach myself through it, right? I'm a people person. I love to talk to people,
Yeah.
but again,
I can tell.
it's getting to that point, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm a shy person that you would never even think about it. That's why I say I'm like two different people in the same body.
You're the most outgoing shy person I've ever
Yes,
met.
I am.
I love that.
And it's funny because the way I explain it is I'm shy until I get to know you.
Yeah.
Right? Because I observe a lot.
You pass that comfort level and then boom.
So I sit back and observe and I'm like, okay, who is this person? What is their motive? Like, what do they want?
Because we were talking on our first call just to kind of get ready for this thing. We kind of had some fun towards the end because we realized that, okay, we're good. Because we didn't know each other yet.
Right.
That was kind of fun. So I kind of felt that as well. So I think you're somebody that a lot of people need to talk to. I really appreciate you coming here today.
Of course. Thank you for having
Ready
me.
at Destination and Travel,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Ready at
We're going to put her
Destination and Travel.
information into the description of the podcast. Super important. But one of the most important things I want you to take from today is that, number one, if you have an idea and need help shaping it, Amanda can help you with that. And number two, if you pre-plan your budget, it doesn't need to be a massive credit card bill.
Exactly.
It's okay if that's what your plan is, if that's what you decide.
Again, everything's not feasible.
I would
for everybody.
encourage from the financing side of life to have those conversations. And Amanda said she books out far in advance. And during that time, you can begin to plan. So it's not this hammer that comes when you walk back in your door from a vacation.
Nobody wants that
and
bill.
now you got to pay for it. Right.
Nobody wants that bill.
The bill comes due, I guess, is the cliche name. But
exactly.
well, thank you very much for coming
thank
today.
You so much
Appreciate
for
you.
Me. I appreciate it so much.
You are now connected to the web with 2 B's. So thank you for that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed your time today. Amanda is a super fun person. She is the most outgoing, shy person I've ever met and recorded, but that sample size is small so far. But we hope to have you back. And if you liked anything about today's vibe and you're considering taking a vacation or just some time for yourself, your spouse, or your loved ones, please give my friend a call. She'd love to hear from you. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.